Well, good afternoon, good morning. Hello, how are you? It is amazing to be back here with you again for the Kingdompreneur Moment Live Show. Also want to special welcome to Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. Hello, how are you from all across the world? This is your host, International Kingdompreneur Doreen Lettsome Reid. And it is amazing to be back with you this week. We have an awesome show today. And you know what? This is the time for you to unlock what's inside you, the confident woman, as you rise up to boldly proclaim your faith right in the worldwide marketplace, to boldly proclaim your faith. I said boldly proclaim your faith in the worldwide marketplace. And as you know, we here on Kingdompreneur Moment Live Show and Confident Woman Incubator Podcast, we focus on 4 key elements as you increase in self-care, spiritual, professional, and business development. And today we have a special just for you, Confident Woman Incubator Starter Kit. You can get your starter kit today. It is a special for you, only $97. And I'm going to share with you my screen so you can see what you're going to be getting. This is the awesome opportunity that we have for you all over the world, women from all backgrounds, whether you're in the C-suite, whether you're an influencer, speaker, coach, a woman, wife, mother. Confident Woman Incubator Starter Kit is just for you. We are focusing on 4 key elements in your starter kit, and you get your starter kit immediately with your 97 special investment. And so you're going to be getting webinars, you're going to be getting workbooks, you're going to be actually get a physical book that features the topic, What Do Women Want? And He's Worthy is a book that I've written 8 years, it took me 8 years to write He's Worthy. And one of those topics that we focus on in Confident Woman Incubator is what do women want? So I want you to go ahead and get your starter kit. Get started today. No more hemming and hawing. Get the key to unlock what's inside you with Confident Woman Incubator Starter Kit for only $97. Of course, we have the link there for you. All you have to do is pick that up. And guess what else, ladies? We will get to spend 1 hour together in our orientation, get to know one another more clearly. And guess what? We can have that 1 hour time together to share, connect, and grow so you can unlock what's inside you. And I'm very excited to be working with each and every one of you. I can't wait for you to get your Confident Woman Incubator Starter Kit today. And we have that special going on of only $97 for all of that value. Can you believe it? All right. Now, what I want to do at this time, we have some very special guests. I want to bring to the stage CEO of Money Matters Financial Solutions, none other than Cynthia Johnson. Hello, Cynthia. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me and having me here today.
Yes. Cynthia has been with me for 12 years, y'all. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not telling a fib. She's here to verify that she was the very first person that I shared what was on the inside of me. I literally went to her office. I drove there and I took to her my business plan. And she has been the one that has said, you know what, Doreen, you should be doing this. You are definitely a coach. And so, Cynthia, while you're here today, just give them a little sneak peek of what that was like for you 12 years ago.
Actually, that was very interesting for me. At the time, I was a Mary Kay consultant and just getting into real estate at that particular time. And Doreen offered me a platform to be able to put my business out there at that time, both of those businesses out there, and actually gained clients and customers. And it's just amazing when I look back, pictures of the different events that she had in a brick and mortar building at that time. And just look at how she has evolved, how she revamped and came back at a higher level than before. So it's been an interesting journey with Doreen and her vision and sharing her vision and really trusting me, coming to me and opening up and trusting me with her vision. Because, you really can't do that with everybody. So Doreen, thank you for even trusting me to be a person that you felt like you can come and share your vision.
Absolutely. And we fast forward 12 years later, you yourself are now a
Yes,
top #1 financial coach. You coach women from all around the world on how to take control of
yes,
their finances. And so you are the CEO of Money
money
Matters
matters. Yes,
Financial Solutions,
yes,
LLC. And
yes.
so, for you now to be in a coaching position to help women all around the world with their finances,
Right.
what has that been like for you?
Actually, that has really been great for me because it's a passion for me. It was just an idea when I was in real estate and actually being a realtor and coming into contact with people who were having issues with credit, having issues with budgeting and things, and not having a go-to person, as they say. That passion and that idea began to burn within me. And here I am coming to you saying, hey, Doreen, what you think about this? Do you think there's a need for this? So I'm now coming to you at your office saying, well, what do you think about this? So I'm very passionate about what I do because I'm very passionate about people actually exceeding and taking control of their finances. It's just not something that I do. It's something that I'm passionate about.
Absolutely. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have none other than Doris Hall here with us today. Doris is a phenomenal woman. She has literally dedicated her life to doing what she's been doing. And, it is an opportunity for you, Miss Hall, for us to share, connect, and grow with women all around the world. So welcome to the Kingdompreneur Moment Live Show. Welcome to Confident Woman Incubator podcast as well. Miss Hall, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are, what you do, and everything that is going on.
Well, hi, Doreen. I am so happy you invited me into this show. I am the founder of hashtag Silent No More, the fight against domestic violence. It is a support group for survivors from domestic violence and to connect them to business that can help them with finance and host housing. And also it gives the survivors time to connect with other survivors and they all can talk together about their experience without being judged. I'm also happily married, been married for 30 years. I have 2 sons that's serving proudly in the military. I have 3 stepkids, and I also have 2 grandkids and 1 on the way.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, ladies, today is our topic to really talk about how confident women can take control in finance and in life. And so, Cynthia, you mentioned that you literally, have your own personal experience of how you transformed your finances, how you made a decision to take control. Can you tell us a little bit about that and give us 2 tips for the ladies that are watching all around the world?
Yes, it's interesting that you said make a decision because I think, like with everything,
Yes.
it starts with a decision. We have to come to a point where we want to do something about our current situation,
Yes.
whether that's financial, whatever it is, it all starts with a decision. And like you said, that's where it started with me. I knew I had to do something. It was many, many years ago. You make bad choices when you're in college, you do this, you do that, and then eventually it catches up with you. And I'm like, I don't want to live like this anymore because to be in bondage to debt, that causes health problems. It causes a lot. People lose sleep at night because of debt, being in bondage to debt. So therefore, I made a decision many, many years ago at a young age that I wanted to do something about it. I didn't want to stay in that particular place. So what I actually began to do, which is a lot of people frown upon, budget. When you hear the word budgeting, most people are like, I don't think I want to do that because honestly, budgeting brings everything into reality. As long as it's not on paper, as long as you don't have it written out, you're living in a fantasy world, which I call it. But when you have it on paper, that's painful because you're looking at what's coming in, what's going out. You're looking at how can I tweak this? How can I reduce my monthly bills? How can I pay off debt? How can I stop using credit? So that's how my journey started with the number one thing that we frown upon, budgeting. I knew I had to do a budget because I had to see my finances in the big picture. in order for me to walk it out and find out where I'm going and what I needed to do. So along that journey, that included reducing monthly debt. As I said, that also included paying off debt. That also included stop using credit cards, which I cut up many, many, many credit cards back in the day. As I paid them off, I cut them up and I threw the torn up credit cards in the trash can. I tracked my spending, which is very important as well, because if you're not tracking your spending, you don't know what's going out. You can have an idea, but until you actually put it on paper and you track it, you really don't know. And another thing that I'm passionate about is credit. If you're going to use credit, if we're going to use credit, let's be knowledgeable about it so we can use it wisely. And everything goes back to budgeting and taking control of your finances, because once you do that, you're in a better position, so to speak, to take control of your credit history and your credit score. And we all know when you're going to get a loan, or when you go get car insurance, when you're going to get a house, sometimes when you're going to get an apartment, when you're going to apply for utilities, they will pull up your credit score. So my thing is, if you're going to use credit, to use it wisely. Know what goes into credit history and credit score. So that's pretty much what I did. I walked myself out of that. And when you do the process, honestly, when you do the process, you will not go back. But you have to do the process. And yes, sometimes it can be fixed overnight. But for me, I had to walk it out. I had to go through the process. Therefore, once I ended up on the other side of this, my vow to myself, I'd never be back in bondage to debt again.
Right, absolutely. And we're talking today about confident women taking control of finances and in life. And so Ms. Hall is here representing women from around the world that may be in a domestic violence situation. And, as I was saying backstage, a lot of times when you hear domestic violence, you immediately think of the physical abuse, the eyes being bulged out, the scars, the physical evidence of abuse. However, domestic violence encompasses more than just physical abuse. And today we're really going to hone in on something most women do not consider as abuse, which is financial abuse. And so for the viewers that are watching, we just heard Cynthia say she had to make a decision to take control of her finances. And at that time, she was a single woman. She was working and she had to make a decision to do those things. And you heard the steps that she took. So how can this relate to you if you are in a domestic violence situation? And we're specifically honing in laser focus on financial abuse. Well, let me tell you how that may look like, what that may look like, what that may feel like. So when you're talking about financial abuse, we're talking about where we nowadays in 2021 call it sugar daddy. We now call it, well, I'm just doing this so I can get this. We think of our body as an exchange for money, and we're willing to even devalue ourselves in this process where, I don't really even like this man, but because he has money and is willing to pay my bills and is willing to put me through college and is willing to get me to get my PhD, I'm going to have sex with him. Well, then, Ms. Hall, how would you help a woman in this type of mindset? Because we're getting ready to shatter that mindset. And what would you say concerning financial abuse and how a confident woman could take control? Okay, hold on. We can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. We can't hear you. Go ahead. Now try.
The way you can take control is the first thing you want to do is you got to open up a savings or a checking account and, store the copies in the house, out of the house. You can do a cash stash. You can get counseling. There's a lot of ways you can do.
I would say that the first thing is to identify that you're dealing with financial abuse. Wouldn't you say that, Cynthia? That they would have to first identify that, yes, this is a financially abusive situation. And with our culture today, it's no other way for me to say this, ladies. It's going to be tight, but it's right. I'm called to tell you the truth. It's tight, but it's right. We have gotten to the point where we're now installing stripper poles in our homes. You know, we're going to the stripper pole in person, saying that it's exercise. We are going, we have installed it in our homes. We have installed it in our bedrooms. We have become comfortable with the stripper pole. We have become comfortable in saying, well, how much money does he make? And saying to ourselves within our conscience, well, it's okay because he makes this amount of money and he's paying my bill. I don't like you. I don't even want to be around you. But because you have this amount of money, this position, I'm not going to be concerned about my condition. And when you look at these issues in our lives that are real, we even go as far to say, well, it's two consensual adults. Okay, well, if we're two consensual adults, it's your responsibility, according to the word of God, to have the mind of Christ on every situation. And I know you may not want to hear this today, but God has called his women to holiness. And so if we're having sex outside of marriage for whatever reason, to pay our bills, to go to college, to get our PhDs, to arrive to these positions that we feel are more higher, then that's an indication of financial abuse. Anytime you are willing to step outside of what you know is right, it may be harder, it may be more difficult, it may be more challenging, but anytime you step out of the realm to do or not to do something that you know is right, you may want to say, okay, is this financial abuse? So, Ms. Hall, what would you say would be the indicators for women that are watching right now? Because all around the world, this is a worldwide problem. It's not just here in America. It's a worldwide problem where women are dealing with financial abuse. What would you say would be the identifiers?
You got to, first of all, you identify is just, you got to get control of your finance. You got to get job training. You got to seek job training. Like Cynthia is, seek advice from financial experts. And me, when I was in my abusive, what I did is just, I worked 3 or 4 jobs to get out of that abusive relationship. So if you in that, you need to just find a way to connect with someone that have some kind of financial ability to get you the help that you needed.
Absolutely. Cynthia, what type of mindset would this type of woman need to start developing in order for her to take control of her finances? Because Ms. Hall is indicating it's going to take work. And to be honest, a lot of women, they have gotten comfortable with living in the penthouse, but you dropping your drawers for money. And we're calling it a consensual adult relationship to mask what it really is. And what it really is when you exchange sex for money, we all know that's called prostitution. When we are exchanging our self-worth and our self-value to wrap ourselves around that stripper pole, we're saying, well, don't judge me, but let me help you. You've already judged and condemned yourself because you know what you're doing is wrong. When God has given everyone a conscience, and I'm not here to bash anyone.
Right.
As I said, when I was, I shared my testimony behind the scenes. When I was not born again, my addiction was the club life. I lived in the club. I was even going to the club to Sunday, leaving out the club Sunday and going to school Monday. The time I get out of the club, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I take an hour nap and I'm at school. So I understand that mindset, and I understood who was behind that, who was driving me to that type of lifestyle. And that was the enemy of my soul, who is Satan. He was luring me into that lifestyle. He actually I remember distinctively being lured. It was like I was being pushed to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I was being pushed and lured into at that time we would call it go-go dancing, because when I was in the world, I knew how to dance. I knew how to really dance. And so I was being pushed into that lifestyle because the situation I was in was not a good situation. I was in a physically abusive domestic violence relationship, emotional and mental, as well as I was the one bringing the money. And so at that time, I'm the one bringing the money and he had no job. So that's a different topic. But what I'm saying is I can identify with these things and I can speak to them. And the whole purpose of this show is to help you be able to tell the truth to yourself. It first starts with you telling the truth to yourself. And I understand it's uncomfortable. I understand you may not want to hear this. You may feel like, well, it's being judgmental or condemning, but it's not, because we know that Jesus Christ dealt with Rahab. Rahab was not just a prostitute. She was the madam, what we would call the madam. She owned the house that was in the stone. She had a relationship with the king. Okay, so this was not just some person, streetwalker. She had a relationship with the king. That's why the king asked her, have you seen these spies? So they had some type of relationship. And so if we see the delivering power of God in Rahab's life, and with the woman at the issue, with the Samaritan woman who had 5 husbands, Jesus Christ has already dealt with these type of issues. And so he's the ultimate businessman, and he's drawing us all to the point where we can be honest with ourselves and be transparent and say, okay, here's where I am. What do I do? So Ms. Hall, you're saying that you agree we first have to identify with our situation. Cynthia, you're saying that we have to make a decision to take control. So ladies, from the domestic violence point of view, when you deal with women that are in this financial controlling situation, Ms. Doris, what do you tell them?
The first thing I tell them is that, they have to find a way to open up a checking or savings account secretly, stash some cash if they have to. When they do open up these savings and checking account, make copies of all account information, store the copies out of the house, store the account into a computer where no one else can access the computer but themselves.
Okay. And then, when you decide to rise up and take control, of course, the abuser is going to notice that his control of you is being lessened. And that's what happened to me. It was very difficult for me to leave the domestic violence situation. Mm-hmm. I was already working. I was already the one bringing in the money. So I had money, but the control was there. The control of just the control of it. And then the violence increased into the fact that I was literally in a burning house, mm-hmm. He had set the house on fire and I was in a burning house. Mm-hmm. And so, how did I escape? I called on the name of Jesus.
That's right.
I want you to understand here on the Kingdompreneur Moment Live show, you are coming to a show. I am an international Kingdompreneur coach. So everything I'm doing is going to point you to the true solution, who is Jesus Christ. I don't have the solution. Cynthia doesn't have the solution. Ms. Doris doesn't have the solution. But what we can do is point you to natural tools that you can use, as well as spiritual truths that you can use. And the truth of the matter is, we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to make a decision that you want to take control of your life. And how you do that is through being introduced to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ delivered me out of my situation that I was in. I'm totally a different person. That's been over 30 years ago. that the experience I told you about over 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. That's been a very long time ago. But I'm sharing that openly because I know what I'm hearing the Spirit say. There are women dealing with financial abuse, and they do not know that they're in the financial abuse because you have become comfortable with the lifestyle you're living, with the way you're living. Like I said, you can be in a nice, beautiful home. You can be in a penthouse. You can be driving the car, and he is furnishing all of that. And we now call it sugar daddy. But I'm here to tell you, like Cynthia walked out of that financial situation she was home in when she was living in Florida. You can also use those same tips to help you right where you are. So Cynthia, go ahead and give us those tips one more time and tell people how they can connect with you so that if they really want to go ahead and take control, that they can reach out.
Okay.
My first tip is to take step practice healthy communication, therapy, positive self-talk, increase your relationship with God. Emotionally, get a support group, mother, sister, best friend, or a support group that I do, and it's called #SilensNoMore, and it's on Facebook. Let's talk. And physical, get educated. You got to get educated about domestic violence. It's not going to help you if you don't know the signs. So the number one thing, get educated and get to know God and have a relationship with God.
All right, Cynthia.
I would say actually once they do everything that Ms. Doris says and they have the income coming in, that at that point, look at the big picture, which is your budget, and figure out what you have, what is your goal, what you're trying to do, what you are trying to accomplish financially. You may have bills that you need to reduce, or you may not have bills at that time. You may be using credit cards, which is something that you will need to actually rethink using the credit cards, and also tracking your spending. And if at all possible, investing in yourself some kind of way. If it's just putting a few dollars away, as Ms. Doris has said, in a savings account or something of that nature. But do connect with somebody to talk to that can help just to kind of direct you and guide you in that financial process. And if you want to connect with me, the best way to do it, you can email me at Cynthia at itsalifestylechange.org. Again, that is Cynthia at itsalifestylechange.org.
Okay, so my tip for helping women that may be in this situation is number one, trust God. We are going to have to learn, and it is a learning process, how to trust God. When I left home, I was 16 years old. I left home because both of my parents were abusing me. When I made that decision to leave, I literally had to trust God. When I was homeless, I had to learn how to, and I was not born again. I was not born again. I did not have the true gospel like I have now. How did I learn how to trust God? I always have been a person of prayer. God gave me that gift to know to pray. And I would remember asking him, when you ask for help, God comes on the scene. And you probably say, well, I've asked for help. You probably say, this is more harder than it seems. And I'm not all knowing. I don't know your situation, but I'm here to tell you that there is hope. There is help for you. You do not have to stay where you are. And my encouragement to you is, number one, be honest with yourself. I had to get very honest with myself before I gave my life to Christ. I had to get very honest. I had to look at my life and say, you know what? I'm tired of the way I'm living. I don't want to live this way anymore. And I made a decision. I didn't really care what the abuser was going to do or not do. I had to make a decision that I want out. And as I made that decision, God began to help me in so many different ways. And then I had to follow through with my decision, because every step was a step of trust. Every step was a step of trust. It was not easy. I was in that situation for 2.5 years, and many of you have been in it very long, 10 years, 20 years. Time doesn't matter how long you've been in it. What I'm saying to you is you don't have to remain there. You have Miss Doris here. She's educated and has resources that you can connect with the financial piece. You have Cynthia you can connect with. And of course, you can connect with me and get involved with Confident Woman Incubator. And the starter kit is available for you, because in Confident Woman Incubator, we're focusing on 4 key elements: increase of self-care, spiritual, professional, and business development. The number one key to self-care is the renewal of your mind. Those things that I mentioned earlier about the stripper pole and the different languages, that how it's changed over the year, that's a renewal of the mind. I had to renew my mind. I had to renew my mind on what was acceptable to God and what was not acceptable to God. I had to make a decision that I'm going to line my life up with the help of the Holy Spirit to what is acceptable to God, not to man, not to me, not to the status quo, but to God. And I understand today's show is a little different, because we're usually very upbeat, but this is what the Holy Spirit told me to do, and He is my boss. I work for the ultimate businessman, Jesus Christ. That is the only person that I work for, and that is the only person that I must please. And so with that being said, we know that you have gotten something out of the Kingdompreneur Moment Live show today. And I want to thank all of the listeners, the Confident Woman Incubator podcast. Ms. Doris, go ahead and tell them again how they can get in contact with you, please. Hold on 1 minute, Ms. Doris, we can't hear you.
You can find me on Facebook. It's called #SilentNoMore, the fight against domestic violence.
Okay, Cynthia, one more time, how you can get in contact with you. We can't hear you. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Email me at Cynthia@itsalifestylechange.com.
Okay, and so if you have not gotten your registration in to receive your free episode of Confident Woman Incubator podcast, you can do so now. It's there for you in the description. All you have to do is click and register to get your free episode of Confident Woman Incubator podcast. And you also will be able to enter to win the prizes that are there for you. Just go to that click and link and do everything that it says, and you will be able to register to win some prizes for Confident Woman Incubator podcast. And so we want to also remind you to get your Confident Woman Incubator starter kit today. And you will also have in your kit a webinar, workbook, book, 1 hour orientation with me. We'll be able to start working together. It's literally a starter kit. So it's, no more hindrances, no more delays. Today is your day. We have a special going on for only $97. And of course, you can click there in the description. Everything is there for you. So I thank you for watching. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for commenting here on the Kingdompreneur Moment Live show and Confident Woman Incubator podcast. I am your host, Doreen, Lettsome, Reid. You know what to do. Drop it in the comment. #the Confident Woman. We'll see you next week, and have a good one.